Let's go to Brussels. Dave Keating is our correspondent there to get some reaction from the heart of Europe on this story. Dave, good evening to you. Is there a sense, perhaps, that following the decision to not allow Munich to light up the stadium in rainbow colours in support of LGBTQ people, organisations, is there a sense, in the light of that Viktor Orban perhaps has won the argument?
Well, we had a big dust-up today at this meeting of Europe ministers in Luxembourg, and I think it was fueled largely by frustration over that UEFA decision. So at this meeting, Luxembourg, Belgium, and the Netherlands put forward a statement condemning the Hungarian law and asking the European Commission to step in and take Hungary to court, take them to the ECJ for violating the EU Charter of Fundamental Rights, specifically for targeting a certain category of people and for inhibiting free speech. They managed to get 13 signatories from 13 EU countries by the time they published that statement. It's an extremely strongly worded statement, and it's quite remarkable that they're asking the Commission to take action based on this charter, because it's a very new charter. It only went into law in 2009, and it hasn't been very legally tested yet. What's interesting, though, is that all of those signatory countries are from Western Europe, except the three Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. They signed on. Now, at first, Italy's signature was missing. That caught a lot of attention, and it got a lot of people very angry in Italy. But by the end of the day, Italy also signed up, their Europe minister announcing that he had not been satisfied by the Hungarian minister's explanations today. Now, I am told that what went on behind these closed doors today at this meeting was explosive, and some of it actually spilled out onto Twitter. You had the German Europe Minister, Michael Roth, entering that European Council summit of the Europe ministers, condemning the Hungarian law, and the Hungarian Justice Minister, who was there, didn't like it very much. Not only did she lay into him at the meeting, she took her complaints public, and basically on Twitter she accused him of trying to spread, quote, sexual propaganda to people under 18. So this got very, very heated, very, very ugly today, largely because you have several Europe ministers who are openly gay, actually. So there were, I'm told, big confrontations on this. Whether or not the Commission will now take this statement, this is all of Europe's biggest countries signed up to this, but it is really exclusively Western Europe. It shows the big divide in Europe on LGBT issues, because in Eastern Europe, no signatories except for the Baltics, that includes Greece, Cyprus, did not sign. Austria also did not sign, which is interesting.
Indeed. I'm wondering if those ministers you're talking about, the ones who are angry about this, would be backing the idea that Munich City Council had to light up the stadium in rainbow colours.
Yeah, I mean, there was real frustration. And I do get the impression that people were reacting generally to this rule. More countries signed up to this statement than was expected. 14 countries is a lot. And it's actually surprising that Italy signed up for this, because Italy has historically not been a very receptive country when it comes to LGBT rights. So I think that the frustration over UEFA's decision played into this. That being said, UEFA's decision is not totally surprising, because of course they want to keep politics out of the Euro championships, right? And while people are accusing UEFA of being hypocritical because they've wanted to encourage plurality in sports, have campaigns against homophobia in football, it's very different to have a kind of general message against homophobia in football versus targeting a specific law of the country that you're playing against. And I'm sure the UEFA is very worried about opening a hornet's nest here. As soon as you say one country can make a political statement, then anyone can. They are very nervous about any prospect of Russia and Ukraine playing each other, and there's other countries where this could really be an issue. So I think that the decision by UEFA was maybe expected, but I think there's this overall frustration with the Hungarian situations, playing into the wider concerns, obviously, about the dismantling of rule of law in Hungary and neighboring Poland, and that people just feel like the Hungarian government is behaving with impunity, and there's nothing anyone, particularly in Western Europe, can do about it. I think Western Europeans are feeling particularly frustrated here that there doesn't seem to be anything they can do to stop a fellow EU member state drifting in this direction.
Indeed, it is alarming when you look at the way Viktor Orban has taken the country, the influence it's had, but obviously tapping into a certain point of view within Hungary. The kind of chanting that was heard in the match last weekend, France versus Hungary, monkey chants, the kind of stuff that in the 1970s in various football stadia it was kind of normal, disgusting but normal. Homophobic abuse too, the same thing. Disgusting, but back then it was normal. Football has this problem, which is obviously a society problem, and it's still there. But like you say, Hungary making decisions for itself, which the EU can't change. Is this one of the basic problems of the EU, that you have to accept that a country within the 27-state bloc actually makes its own rules?
Well, I think the big question is whether this Charter on Fundamental Human Rights can do something about this. You may remember, this is the charter that the UK and Poland refused to sign up to 10 years ago at the time of the Lisbon Treaty. So both the UK and Poland got exemptions to that charter. Obviously, that's irrelevant for the UK now. But Hungary did it. Hungary is fully signed up to that charter. So this could be a real test. The thing is, the EU does have some tools here. It, of course, has the power of the purse. It can deny funds to Hungary and Poland for violating the rule of law. There is a mechanism now in the EU budget to do that. This charter has not been fully tested for what it could do to countries that are found to be violating people's fundamental human rights. The EU does have tools here. The question is, does the EU have the nerve to use them? And in order for the Commission can't do this on its own. It has to get majority support from the member states of the European Union. And I'm afraid that even though today's signatories are by far a weighted majority of the EU, and even in terms of hard numbers, a majority of member states, the fact that they are geographically one bloc and all they were able to get from Eastern Europe are those 3 Baltic states, it's going to be hard for the Commission to use that as a mandate to do something very legally adventurous in trying to go after Hungary using the Charter of Fundamental Rights. It'll be interesting to see what the Commission does. It does have the tools, but the question is, it needs the political backing from the national capitals of the EU, from enough of them to really use them.